So today we're going to do some ornaments and a greeting card. And what I'm doing here while waiting for you guys is like just using a black sheet and doing just writing happy holiday sign. I'm using white paint marker on a black sheet. It's available in any art store for you. So we can do the message first and create our painting around the message. So the one will do this way, and second one will do, just paint first and do the message later. And we can do this with script liner also. It doesn't have to be this way. So to make it fast, I'm just filling in quickly. Okay, so let's say this is our card, and you're with the message first, and we want to do a painting around the message that you have, right? So it can be like it's not centered if you see. So we are starting with the card that is, a little cornered or so. But at the same time, if you see now, what I can do, I can have a lot of big flower going here, and then leaves going around and spread out across, and then having leaves as you go further, like reducing the size of the leaves to give that overall effect of blending in and make it smaller as you go. So let's start with light colors because I'm on a black background, and I'll do the leaves first. So you want to do at your end, or do you want to watch today?
Watching. I'm watching.
Okay, sure. No. Sure. I'm taking some white is a very common color that we would like to use, some floating medium. And today I'll use this double loader, the cap that goes in the center, to use my floating medium instead of floating around all over. Okay, and I'll be using a 12 flat brush, wetting as always, and taking excess water to napkin. And maybe to darken little bit, I'll be using a sap green also here and there. But I'll be using a lot of light shades also. So just something touched here. Yeah. So I'll be starting with white, sap green, like citrus green. What green did I use? It's a lime green actually, not citrus. It's closer to citrus color, but lime green. Loading my brush with white and lighter shade, and then just dabbing will spread out your paint, and it will help you with side loading, better side loading. Okay. So we are doing the design that we want to, start with. Let's say just going around, spreading out, and then going back, reloading. I want to keep this closed so you can see our, reloading here. Then going back, using my little finger to help. I think lighter was better, so I'm just going and re-stroking something. And then going back on the other direction. I don't want to be on your way, so you can see the stroke I'm doing here. Just rough estimate here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are filling a lot. These are just the reference lines that we are adding now. And we are leaving it to that. And here on the bottom, let's pick up more sap green, and the light green we already have. Just do a zigzag on the bottom. And as if it's, and then as we go, we're just spreading it out, not going into paint again, just spreading it. Okay. And now we are going back, reloading, touch of floating medium, and then going back, reloading our brush. And then you're having your one stroke leaves. You can do either one stroke leaves or just slide in and slide out. So you're going on both directions. Touch. So what I'm doing is, this is an angle and I want more green than white, only touch of white I want. So I'm just going in, reloading. I had a lot of paint, so I'm going back. Touch, pressure, one direction, and then going and pulling back. So let's say this is your center line. Pressure starting from like a V, you can start. Keep a V sign and then a center line. Starting from this side of the V, standing up, and then starting from the second side, pressure and standing back up again. That's what I'm doing. So touch, pressure, stand up, touch, pressure, stand up again. Okay. And we are doing a wet on wet technique. You can always go back, restroke. And as you go further, what you can do, let me just finish few with the same strokes, and I can go into details of what we can do on as we go further. Touch, pressure, pull. Pressure, pull. Then again touch, pressure. Same stroke, pressure down. And then stand up. Going back, picking up both colors, reloading. And as you go further, as mentioned, just pull, pressure, pull instead of complete strokes. And the same technique you are pulling in here and there. Going back, filling up. And this one is not that great in look, so I can always go back, restroke. Again, we are going on the other direction now. Same technique, touch, pressure, pull. Closer to it, touch, pressure, pull. And every time I'm going back, reloading it again. Touch, pressure, pull. And as we did in the previous steps, we are going to do the same here. As we go further, we're just pulling few strokes here and there. Touch, pull, pull. And we're going to have some fillers there, so don't worry about the gaps that you're seeing now. And here we're going to have a darker shade little bit. I'm going to the sap, and then having the same but little stretched out leaf on here. I'm going to go overlap little bit on this one too. Pressure, pull, pressure, pull, pressure, pull, pressure, pull. So I'm spreading out, coming in. It's more like a Christmas kind of a leaf that we're trying to do. Pressure. And it went out, so we're going to stop as if the leaf is not seen after that. I'm going to hold it on top so I'm not spoiling my base there. So if you're not satisfied, as always, go back, pull it, then do. Here also I want a little bit of detail. All I'm doing is just striking and pulling at it. And then we are going to go around on these strokes. Then having dark shade as always in the center. And make sure when you're loading your brush, no excess paint is on your brush. And pressure, pull, pressure, pull, pressure, pull, stand up. I'm going on the other side. Pressure, pull, pull, stand up. And let's have one last leaf here. A little bit of overlap on the other one. So we have a center big leaf. Then we're going to have a flower going on top of it. Or the other option that you have is you can have Christmas ornaments going on there. So let's do that way. For this I'll be using a small dabber. We get some. So I'm going to use a small sponge with the round one, and let's pick up cardinal red. It can be apple red actually, but apple red. Oh, this is a gloss look of apple red that I have. Oops, that's a lot. I normally use Focat mostly, but I couldn't find the color, so I'm just using a different company here. So just wet little bit, always wet with finger. Don't put it in the water. And then you are loading half red. And then go to white on the other side. So we are trying to put some Christmas ornaments into it. And then just touch and then make sure you have your white loaded nice. And then we're going to have 3 of them here. Touch. This one. Going back, reloading, making sure I have my colors because this paint is not dry yet. So we'll start picking some of the paint from bottom. So make sure you'll do this better if after drying that paint. You can just use a dryer also to make it quick. If you're doing the way I'm doing here, make sure when you're dabbing, you're not pulling lot of pressure. If you're adding, you'll start pulling the paint from bottom. So light pressure will take care of it. And then always reload to get that effect that you're looking. Just adding few more around. And you can go with much smaller one from this size. I can show that also. And here and there you're going with the big one. Oops, that's a lot of white if you see. So the correction to this is just pick red this time, don't no more white. Because you have enough white. And then to correct here, you're just adding more red there. And I'm going like a triangle shape. Like I have one here, one here. Visually, it looks better like that. So those are few fillers that we have. I'm done with this, so I'm going to put it in the water. And then the other option, if you don't have a small,
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So
Very
other
nice.
option, if you don't have that, you can also use the scruffy brush. And then all you're doing is loading the same way, more of a red. And then less of white. Going back, more of red, less of white. And you will get the same effect. We are reducing as we go. So I'm trying like, okay, a little lesser in size. Touching on white, picking, going. So this is one like simple way that you can do. you can do your painting and then go with the the sign, whatever you want to type in, and then you can go with the um, paint painting around it. So this is one simple way of doing it. And we can also add small, using a small brush. We can also, I'm wetting my brush, going back, taking out excess water, and then I'm just picking some white and red, and loading my brush with white and red, a touch of sapling. Giving that red shade is what I'm trying. And you can have some filler leaves here and there, so it's all that. If you want those additions, you can still add more, like detailed leaves around. And wherever you think, oh, this is not looking that great, is where you are going to add those filler strokes. Here I'm missing some, connection, and then I'm just going with some filler strokes. Yeah. So those are some options that you can always do around. All we are doing is just loading two colors and then going with some extra strokes. With the smaller brush. Load well and then go back. So that's all for this one. And is that clear on this one? All good?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Let's go back to a smaller version now. Let's say we want to do a greeting card, like a note in whatever gift that we want to pack with. So there's another way of doing is, this is a red color, so I can go with the dark green here and then light green, and with touch of white, I'm making my other color lighter. And you can have a touch of red if you want to have the red effect on the other side. Red on red, let's see how it goes. And a small red kind of. So just do, the easy way is, let's just go do this back and forth. There you have both the colors. Just filling it, going back again, reloading some colors, and then going back, reloading. So all I'm doing is zigzag, zigzag. Going on top, redoing on top. And if you see, my paint is all done, but there is some leftover residual to this, and then with that I'm not filling it all. So that is one way of look we are trying to get. We don't want like filling completely, but around this red you want to have a spread out look, is what you're trying to get. So that's why I'm not keeping on reloading. I'm just using the same brush, going around. So that gives a like complete circle for us that you're looking for. And now I'm done with this brush. I'll go back. Go with the smaller brush because of the size that I have. I'll go with the 6 again. Take out excess water. And then I'll be completely loading my light green. This is one way. And then going and picking the sap green on the side. I'm just side loading sap green on the other side. And then I'm following one direction that I'm like one leaf. Okay, it's a lot of water is still there. So let me take out excess water and then go back, load my brush again with touch of white and then green. So all you're doing is spreading out. Leaves around the breath. And whenever you're losing your color, you're going back, reloading. All I'm doing is using my smaller brush here. So going into the centers of my brush, that's all. No particular order that I'm doing. All the centers I'm going and filling up. So what I'm doing is like a one easy method of, making it quick. Now that's a big one. That's okay. We can leave it. The big one came in because I added a lot of pressure there. Like in the other classes, how we learn, the more pressure you add, the bigger the leaf will get. So for the remaining ones, if you notice, I'm just adding a light pressure. So now if you see, it looks like everything going straight into the center. So what we'll do to address that, some will spread out, start spreading out. And then now we are going to give some direction to it. Spreading out on one side. Okay. And then going back, spreading out on the other side. Picking up our white. Going back, spreading out. Again, I'm going back. I'm going with the 3 leaves kind of breath here. Again, if I add a lot of pressure, again I'm increasing the size. So don't add a lot of pressure. Little pressure will do. Going back, touch pressure is all I'm doing. I'm going back every time, reloading and striking, stroking here. So we are done with these going around, and now I'm going to wash my brush. We're going to do either you can do the daisy or 5 petal. So let's go with the daisy for this one completely. Picking white completely this time onto my brush, and then having a daisy flowers. All I'm doing is just touch pressure. So if you're not having enough, so this one is a good brush. If you notice, when even if I add a lot of pressure, I'm not seeing that much of spread out look that we want. So always, as mentioned before, like go with the spoil brush, the same one with the spoil brush. Here, this is spread out much wider. So if you go with that, your daisies will look looking for one spoiled. Yeah, this is much spoiled. So if you see, this one is all flat brush. This I used a lot, a spread out one. So now if you see the difference, I'm loading completely, taking out excess water. Then keeping this aside. And then let's maintain this triangle design. See how spread out you're getting that. And then I'll go one here. Loading and coming back. Loading and coming. All I'm doing is loading and coming back. So that's a lot. So I'm just taking out some and then coming back. So this is one simple and quick technique to do. The same can be done in the greeting card that we did earlier. If you see, I'm just going like a pattern of triangle, and I'll go one here. Going around, and now we have to do the centers with the small scruffy. You can fill in. Either you can go with small scruffy, and or for this one you can just go back with because I have the red background. I want to have that red look in the center. You can do that. Or you can use scruffy as mentioned and do the center with the front with two colors of your choice. So if your hand is shaking, use little finger to help. I'm just centering for now. So this is another way, a simple and easy technique of doing a card. I think that's done. And we can use some, if you want to have, see now, one thing, if you notice the difference, I used a spoil brush. See how the flowers are spread out, like each petal is spread out. And if you want this kind of look, you want to use a new fresh flat brush. So it spreads much better on a like spread out brush. Okay. Any questions on this one?
No, it looks
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we are done with these two. And then now I'll show one way of doing the Christmas specific on a card and with the design. And then we will do the same on a complete project. So you want to have a look of a Christmas tree leaf. So spread out inward, pressed out inward, and then go inward always. So the same, let me use black because here black will look much clearer. So let's say like that, spread out, spread out. So you want to have like a star, 1, 2, so 5 of them, and then followed by in between will do. So let me go to the 16 flat for this one. This is a 12 flat. Okay, 16 flat. I'm wetting my brush, taking out excess water, getting my sap green some more and citrus green, I mean happy green. And maybe because it is a green one, we can actually go with red and green. Okay, so I'm just loading red and green. And if you want to lighten your red, you can go to white to lighten. But if not, you can also go with the darker shade. So now with the design first I'll show. So what we are doing is spreading out, pulling inward, spreading out, pulling inward, spreading out, pulling inward, and then go slowly and then stand up by the time you reach. Same, you're going on the other direction. If my hand is coming on the way, let me know. So now touch, spreading out, going inward, spreading out, going inward, spreading out. Let me reload. Whenever you're losing, you can always go back, spreading out, going inward, spreading out, going inward, and slowly you're standing up to the center. Okay, so those are just references I added. So I'll go bigger than the size that we have. Touch, pressure inward, touch, pressure, and then stand up. Again, going on the other side, touch, pressure, inward, stand up. So you can also just add a center line as reference once you're getting comfortable. So you will be using that as a reference for you, and then standing. Going back. If you're losing your darker shade, just pick the dark. Next time, I want to lighten my red this time. So let's see how that look is going to be. So on this side, I have a lighter red because I loaded with more white. So you're spreading out, going inward, spreading out, going inward, spreading out, going inward, and then standing up. Okay. The same you're going around 5 times. And if you're not loading well, you will end up seeing residuals of paint on this side if you see. So I can go back, reload again, and then come back, pressure, correct that. Okay, and now the 5th one, touch, pressure, pull, stand up. Okay, now pressure. So now you have 5, right? So now the next one, what we're going to go is like pick up green, dark green, but this time we'll go lighter on the second layer that we're doing. So now we are going to go in between these two. Okay. So, and then this one will be starting in the center. So it will be much better if we do it after the first layer is dried with some dryer or something. But if you're doing on top of it, make sure you're not putting a lot of pressure like the same way that we did for the other one. Touch of floating medium when paints are getting dried or you're not getting the flow that you're looking for. So now I'm touching, pressure. Again, I'm going this side. So everything I'm going on the center of the previous one. So you can also just do 1, 2, 3 spread to make sure it is spread out well before starting. So there is a lot of paint if you notice on the previous one. So it will definitely start pulling from that if it is not dry. I'm going with the last one. Pressure, pull, pressure, pull. Again on the other side. Pressure, pull. So on the center, we can go with the same, instead of the smaller one, we'll go with, let me get Yeah, using the back of your brush also, you can do this. I will be doing some tip of my brush. I'm going to add some greens. Or you can do the same technique of the dabber that we did before. Or this is another way of doing. And then I'm adding reds. Then a touch of white on top. You can use a these are the kiss tools that you can use these also if you want more detailed uh, spots here and there. So that is one way of doing in the center. So these I just did this so we can do it on the, so this is clear, right? Leaf wise how we want to do. So we can do it on the Christmas ornament now. Okay. So I'll go with the smaller size, 12 flat on this. Wet my brush on a black one that I'm going to do today. On one side we'll do a rath and one side we'll do the leaf kind of. And then we can have the same, we can do the leaf on the back and in the center, we, instead of second layer, same process, but you can go with the blue color. So it looks like going on top. Example, this one. Okay. So this the stroke is same, but we went with the blue instead of same greens there. So let's do that actually on this. So first layer, we'll spread out few leaves with the same stroke. Stop me anytime if you have any questions. Okay. Then I'm holding with my hand. And let's have one here going outward. And one here going outward. One here going outward. And one here this side. And one little closer. Okay. So touch. Touching and then I'm pressure, giving that pressure to get the stroke I want. You can always go back, restroke. Especially when you're doing on grass, don't put a lot of pressure because you'll start pulling this, you know, like you see a lot of streaks of lines. Like light pressure is needed when you're doing on glass or. So now I'm going with the second one. Loading your brush right is important. Pressure and then stand up, pressure, stand up, pressure, go out. I'm loading and picking up. On this, see, because my brush is not loaded well, it's all spread out, not spread out nicely. I'm starting to see the lines. So I'm going back, picking up again. And if needed, you can always, to clean your brush again and come back, reloading again. Now, if you see my new stroke, you'll see difference right away. Not that much actually. I'm going back, restroking because we are not satisfied with this one. Again going. I'll have some white here to lighten my light green side. One, two, three to help spread out well. Holding here might also help. So you have a good balance depending on type that you're doing here. Again, one more. Spread out. One more. One more. So if you notice, I didn't do any, sorry. I went on the wrong direction. All you have to do is just take out excess paint because the inner side, as we talked before, is still having the right color. So now I'll go in and picking the right colors again and reload, that's all. You don't have to wash the brush if you accidentally went on the wrong direction when loading. Loading, pressure, again going back. You're not satisfied, you can always go back. Reload and redo. I'm not happy with the paint, so I'll go back, pick up more, then done. So I did spread out leaves around. So what we are going to do, instead of doing that 5 petal, we can have actually rose flowers going in there. That's another, or 5 petal we can do. So what I'll do is using a 12 flat here, 10 actually, 10 flat. I'm wetting my brush. We'll go with the Persian blue and white to do the 5 petals. We're going to make it a wavy flower instead of flat, circle, straight circle ones. I'm going to have some Persian blue and then white. So we're going to, I did wet my brush, did I? Okay, wetting again, taking out excess water. And then I'm loading more of a blue. First I'm loading my blue that I want. On my brush and then side loading white. . So it's more of a blue and then small white on the side. Side loading on white. And now we're going to have some 5-petal flowers here. I'm going closer. Every time I'm going back, reloading. Whenever I see that I'm picking up paint from the bottom. Going back, reloading, and coming back. Touch, pressure, touch. Within the gap, I have one. So like that, we'll have few flowers added. You notice I'm picking up the green from the bottom. Here I'm making it look as if the flower went little down. So this one is disappeared. So you're not seeing the bottom of that. And I'll have one more here. You can also overlap if you want. Like I'm picking up. One, two. Then I'm having an overlapping one here. And here I will have one more, which is going under that. So going back, if I'm losing my blues, I'm picking up. If I'm losing my whites, I'm picking up white. So it's both colors are a little mixed up here. So I'm just cleaning it instead of re-washing or anything. All I'm doing is cleaning it and then picking up the colors of my choice again and then reloading completely. So this time when you do, you get a fresh stroke. And then again, there's one more overlap here. So you have few flowers going on there. You have one more here. So now you'll see that it's still incomplete on, okay, where is the centers, kind of confusion will be there. And that we can correct right away by adding the center for each one. So that's my center for this, that's my center for this, and that's the center for this one. This is center. So it went inside, right? So you're not able to see the remaining flower. So that went inside, so you're not able to see the remaining flower. Taking out. And then one correction that I'm noticing even after adding the center is this one is looking like off. So you can do that corrections if you notice of such differences. So now it's corrected. And now we can use the same technique of going with a small brush, flat 6. And add the light green completely or side load with 2 colors that of your choice. And the other color on the other side, and have some extra leaves going on. Or completely black, dark green if you want. One side. So other side, there's one other easy technique is using the scruffy, you're filling it quickly. Just like green and red and
with
going
light
with green and red this time.
So it just pops.
And I'm just what I'm doing to further for my red this time is okay, green and red, or a touch of white to lighten the red side. Okay, and this is
that's
still
all
wet, so before I spoil, I'll do on a different one for this one. So let's just